So this week, what we're going to talk about, again, retail EDI compliance, what SMBs get wrong and end up paying for. You know, retailers don't care how small your business is. If you want to sell to them, EDI compliance is non-negotiable. So you have to start thinking about that aspect where, as one of my favorite terms is fake it till you make it. And if you're a truly small company and you're wanting to deal with a major retailer, or you're a very small, I don't know, doctor's office, and you want to deal with all these different insurance providers and healthcare, the big thing is fake it till you make it. Like, hey, listen, get with partners and people and teams that can make you seem bigger than what you are. And that's totally okay, because eventually you're going to grow to the size that you want as long as you keep your head down and doing the thing that you got to do. And the beauty is you work with a team of people and individuals that can help you seem a lot bigger. You know, here at EDI Support, we have a lot of highly experienced people that have been doing this for a very long time. And yeah, we don't typically have to worry because we have all the information and the experience in-house to help our clients. So our clients end up looking a lot bigger than what they are. So with a lot of this, we go into talking about things like, hey, most SMBs think EDI compliance is a big technical requirement. Retailers treat it as an operational expectation. So when you're looking at things, you're going ahead and you're dealing with aspects of, are we who we say we are? You know, are we this big company, this big entity? Retailers looking at us and going, let me think about things. We need EDI compliance. I don't care if you have no technical people or have a bunch of technical people. We just need you to do compliance because we need to automate as much as possible. You know, so one of the big things that you always have to sit down and go, all right, with that, what does that look like? Do we go fully managed service? Do we go non-managed and we manage it internally or with an external team member or team or individuals or consulting services, or what does it look like? And you have to figure those things out. You know, and typically when you're looking at EDI compliance, you start to realize you have different documents that you have to deal with. You have ASNs, you have invoices, you have purchase orders, you have all of those different documents that come into play. Which one do you think causes the most problems and the most headaches for you? You know, did you have any problem when you were onboarding your EDI? Was it clear or was it confusing? Think about that. Give me some comments. Give me some feedback. What are you looking at? Where are you getting held up? Where do you think things could have been done differently? You know, the funny part is I tell a lot of smaller companies that reach out and they say, hey, we need to be EDI compliant. I'm like, do you really know what that means? And they're like, no, we just know we have to do it. Well, that really just means you need an EDI platform, whether it's yours, you're using somebody else's, you just need somebody to give you that little check that says, hey, you are EDI compliant. There's no rhyme, reason, anything like that, other than when you get into actual testing with a trading partner. But to say that you're EDI ready or EDI compliant, we get people set up inside of Elevate within 24 hours typically. Well, that means you can log into it. You can say that you have a partnership with EDI Support using the Elevate platform, all of those things. And all of a sudden, you 24 hours before you weren't EDI compliant, and now 24 hours later, you are EDI compliant. And there's plenty of other platforms that are out there. Again, do your due diligence, look at all the different ones that are out there and figure it out on yourself. Which one makes the most sense? So some of the context that we have to look at is EDI is an entry ticket to retail, whether it's Amazon, Walmart, Chewy, Target, and a whole bunch more, just like in healthcare, just like in drug, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, all of those different industries. If you have EDI, the doorway opens up. So don't think of EDI has to be done when you're a major or a big client, or you get, you know, 15 years down the road, start looking at EDI now. How can you automate? How can you make things easier? What opportunities will it make for your company? And start thinking about those things. You know, when we're looking at retail, which a lot of people are in retail, a lot of people that follow these videos and listen to these pieces of information are in the retail sector. What does it actually mean? What is retail EDI compliance? Well, typically in North America, in the area where we service a lot of clients, we do have some clients, of course, that are in Europe and throughout the world. The standard document formats is the NCX 12. You know, and amongst those, you're dealing with an 850, which is a purchase order, an 855, which is a purchase order acknowledgement, an 856, which is an advanced ship notice or ASN or shipment document. And then you have your 810, which is your invoice. So those are your typical 4 documents that you're going to see when you're dealing with the documents in a retail EDI compliance. You know, and some of those documents, they're going to flow in that natural form. So purchase order being received because your retailer is actually your buyer. The purchase order acknowledgement coming from you to them, to that major retailer, telling them, hey, everything on that purchase order looks good, or hey, here's what we'd like to change. Here's what we can't fulfill, whatever that looks like. Here's what we got to back order. Now, you're ready to ship the product. So you're going to send off to them a shipment notification, an ASN or 856 document. It's all the same thing. And then, hey, I want you to pay me. So you're going to send them an 810 or an invoice. That's typical required documents. You do have other documents that will fall into play. You'll have inventory documents, which is an 846. You might have an 820, which is a cash receipts when you're getting paid for things. You may have a price catalog, an 832. You may have, hey, listen, if we're dealing with manufacturing and we're dealing in that arena, maybe we have an 830. That's a format. That's a forecast, not a format. That's a forecast document. So forecast planning with release capabilities. So you have these various documents that are going to fall into play when it comes to EDI and processing in the retail aspect. And then how are we going to get these documents? What's going to be the communication method? AS2 is using the internet protocols. You have SFTP, which is using a file transfer protocol. And then you also have a VAN, which can be using either one of those type of protocols. A VAN is really an EDI mailbox. It's where the documents are being delivered to that mailbox. It's out there in the virtual, in the cloud, in the world. And then from there, you're picking up the documents when your trading partner sends them to you. So there's an intermediary. An SFTP is actually directed and typically between 2 organizations or you and your trading partner directly with no middle van in between. And then you have AS2, which is a direct push of documents. So pushing from your system to their system, or they're pushing from their system to your system. So understand that those pieces are involved in EDI compliancy and in the process. You know, a lot of times the real pain that SMBs face is dealing with, you know, things that, hey, we didn't know we needed an ASN. Our labels were wrong? What do you mean our labels are wrong? We passed testing but failed in production? Yeah, we hear those things all the time. You know, if you're not reading the routing guides and understanding that what the ASN needs to be delivered is at 24 or 48 hours before the physical product gets to its ultimate destination or to the trading partner's location, understand that. Understand the placement of the labels. Where does a label need to be put on the box, whether it's a FedEx label, a UPS label, or a UCC 128 label? If you don't understand that piece of it and that portion of it, you're going to have problems. A lot of times people are getting into the whole world of, we passed testing, why is it failing in production? Well, let me give you a little inside knowledge. One of the largest testing facilities out there, and companies that you, of course, most people know who's been following me, I'm not the biggest fan of, is SPS Commerce. They put our clients through and companies through testing that is generic based. It's not based on your relationship with that particular trading partner, and they have you do things and formatting and other things in the EDI testing that you get through. And then ultimately, once you're moving live data, you find out is not the right format and it fails. It's a big headache. The big headache I've been dealing with for over 28 years. But it's a problem that everybody gets to deal with. If you have a team helping you, they can try to get you as taken care of as possible, really is what it comes down to. Hypercare, making sure that things are doing all of those things. So again, it's relying on the right team or right people on your team that have that EDI knowledge to help you through it. When you're new to EDI requirements can seem very confusing. Hey, I've been doing this for 28 years and I see some EDI requirements and I scratch my head and I start asking my team and I go, hey, did you ever deal with this one before? Because it makes no sense. Well, here's a little inside note. Get a sample. If the EDI requirements seem confusing, use a sample to understand that. Just like unclear retailer specs, get a sample of the documents they want you to exchange. Get the raw EDI so that you can look at it and you can see it. And if you can't read it, get it to the people that should be helping you and guiding you through all of this. If you have lack of guidance, you're with the wrong team. You don't have the proper project management. You don't have the proper team leading you and holding your hand and taking you along the way to get you in EDI compliancy and get you exchanging data. If your onboarding is delayed and keeps being delayed, well, guess what? That leads down to project management. One of the things that I always tell people is this. In the EDI world, everybody thinks from an outside standpoint that 90% of the work is technical and 10% is project management. I can tell you, as somebody that's been doing this for a very long time, flip those. 90% is project management, hoarding the cats, bringing everybody together, and 10% is technical. Anybody that's done enough EDI implementations will realize how much time is being put and how much communication goes back and forth, which I put under project management. Technical work I put is setting up the AS2, configuring the network, doing all those things. Again, you'll find a lot more work is in communication, is in bringing together the business processes, understanding the business processes, bringing the teams together, doing all those things. It's not in the mapping. It's not in the AS2 communication. It's not in all of those things. So this is what leads you into why you need to have the right partner and you won't have onboarding delays. One of the things that I want to point out and that we're seeing more and more is you have companies that are leading down a pathway, of certificates. So you have certificates that are out there that are involved in your AS2, involved in other security aspects of EDI. Well, those need to be maintained. The maintenance of them is going now from a 5-year typical valid certificate to now being 6 months. Do you have the right team to maintain that? Do you have the right people to keep up with all your connections and making sure that those connections are up to date, because now certificates are only valid for 6 months instead of 5 years? Think about that. What happens if that drops into your plate? What are you going to do? So I bring that up because that's one of the hot topics that I'm seeing being mentioned all over the place and people are talking about all the time. And another piece to a lot of things is the cost of getting compliance wrong. So if you're getting compliance wrong, you're not moving data. Your relationships are failing, things are happening, everybody's getting upset. That's a loss of revenue. This is where small business CEOs and CFOs really need to lean in and understand what are chargebacks, what are delayed payments, what are rejected shipments, why does our vendor scorecard and how does that get impacted? what happens if we losing retailer relationships? The funny part is, and not so funny, ha ha, but retailers won't call to explain. They'll just deduct. So you need the right platform and the right partner. And you need the right people leading you along the way, holding your hand, doing those things, making sure that you're okay. If you don't, your CEOs and CFOs are going to see all of those things happening and go, whose feet do I need to hold to the fire, and get an answer on these? When you're looking at standard EDI retail aspect, the ASN or 856, it's your most sensitive document. Some people, different industries, different looks of things. What do I feel is probably one of the most complex documents, if not the most complex document, can be the 856. It all depends on how you're packaging products, how you're shipping products, how you're doing all these things. So when we're looking into the 856 and we're going deeper on it, why does your ASN errors happen? Why is there carton level details? And what if it's missing? What if it's partially filled out and not fully filled out? What are the timing requirements of when the ASN needs to be sent successfully? How do we work around this warehouse EDI coordination, where if you have a 3PL and they're not handling your EDI, you need to know the information to fill out the ASN. Are you with the right 3PL or external warehouse? Or even if you're in the same warehouse that you own, but it happens to be in another state, how do you get the labels to print out successfully? How do you get the ASNs to be handled successfully? And all of those things. It's a lot of coordination. Again, remember that project management word? Or words, I should say. So you have these things that you have to pull together and understand. And in the ASN can add that complexity. And a lot of retailers are going to look for that ASN because they want that shipment information to automate how their product is received and put in inventory and all of those things on their side. Most of EDI, I'm going to tell you, is not to the benefit of you. It is to the benefit of your retailer. It is for your retailer to handle things in a more automated manner. When we talk about automation and we talk about things today, what does that look like? Some of it looks like AI. Hate to use that term, but artificial intelligence, reading in a label, understanding what's in a box because it's linking back to the ASN, and processing it down the right conveyor belts without human interaction. If you've ever seen it, look up high-speed warehousing and see what that looks like. High-speed warehouse cameras. Look on YouTube. Some crazy videos that'll show you what like an Amazon automated warehouse looks like. Pretty crazy. Understand your ASN is part of that. And again, we've been harping on these things, but why SMBs struggle with retail compliance? No internal EDI expertise. They have systems that are disconnected, or sometimes they don't even really have any systems. They have spreadsheets that they're dealing with. They're utilizing legacy providers that don't give you that hand-holding, almost like an EDI department type aspect. They don't have have the knowledge of what are all their processes. So it's a lack of process clarity that goes on. Most EDI setups weren't designed, I should say, with SMB operations in mind. And that's the keys to a lot of this. And a keys to a lot of this is a lot of systems that are out there are off the shelf. They're not built to your unique processing. They're built to a standard process that they feel as though you should fall into, not how they should mold themselves to make it more nimble with you. What a smooth compliance process should look like? It's a shift to clarity. Choose the right EDI platform model for your business. There's a bunch of articles that we have out there that'll help you with it. There's articles on how to choose right EDI model for your business. You can read that. You can look. I try to put videos out there helping along the ways, and we try to put blogs and articles all over our websites. And there's other ones out there that are helping with this. You need a clear onboarding roadmap. If somebody's done this before, they know the standard steps and they know where they need to add in additional steps because some things change. You need to make it structured end-to-end testing. Who are all the people that need to be involved? Who are all the departments that need to be involved? Are there external facilities that need to be involved? All of those things. You need to get accurate data flow. You need to have your data cleaned up as best as possible. The funny thing is there's always that term, bad data in, bad data out. If you don't have your data corrected, and maybe you have, again, we've run into this where we have people that have, NDCs or unique item numbers that are across the board in multiple facets of items because these items have different pack sizes or units carried or whatever that looks like. Well, guess what? You need to clean that up. You don't need to have people involved with getting their hands in it. That's not what EDI is really meant for. You have to have coordination between your ERP, warehouse, and EDI. So you have to have those people on the same pathway and understanding what your direction is and how you want to make it easier. The experience should feel guided, not chaotic. When you have chaos, it doesn't do you any good, especially when you're in the SMB world. In the SMB world, you should be able to hand this thing off, get the right people, again, internal or external, to help you and walk you through it, and you're on your way, and it's being successful. We ran into companies where we've helped a company called Capellos. We walked them through the process. We helped troubleshoot issues in real time. We made sure they fully understood how everything worked. We're still making tweaks. Like as things come up, we make little adjustments, we make tweaks, we get people working. But ultimately, we connected 7 trading partners and 2 warehouses in just 8 weeks, along with a NetSuite integration. Check with who you work with and see if they could do that. See what time frame they would provide them. We moved them from SPS Commerce. I'm going to say it. I shouldn't have said it, but I'm going to say it. So the pro tips for SMBs entering into retail: start being EDI ready. That signals a retailer that you are technology first. Get specs early, test thoroughly, align with your warehouse, understanding that you're bringing in EDI. If it's an external 3PL, let them know, see what they're able to and capable of doing, and don't rush going live. You rush going live, you're rushing into chargebacks, failures, issues, all of those things. Make sure things are properly tested out for you. The closing thought that I want to leave you with is retail EDI compliance isn't just about sending documents. It's about protecting revenue and relationships, because really that's what's going to grow your business. EDI is here to help automate. It's here to help you understand. It's here to help you do all of those things so that you can focus on your company, your relationship, your growth, your individuals that are on your team or that are external to your team. EDI is supposed to be a huge add-on and a very integral part of your company. Not a headache, not something that you go, oh my God, why are we paying all this money? And why are we getting such limited support or such limited help? So if there's ever a way that I can help you, don't hesitate to reach out. Check our information. We got Discord, we got YouTube, we got LinkedIn, we got all these wonderful things. You can check out our Google reviews. You can give us comments. You can give us insight. If there's videos I can do differently or things that I can help give answers on, like I brought up the little tidbit that I had in there about certificates. Well, think about that. If you're using internal EDI, you're going to need somebody that's going to maintain your certificates or the AS2 connections or SSL connections or whatever that looks like, because compliancy is going to be coming that, guess what? Your certificate's only going to be valid for 6 months instead of 5 years. This puts a little bit more of a workload on your team to maintain and to manage. And if it's too much, look for a managed provider, somebody that can help you, somebody that is going to be your partner, somebody that's going to walk alongside of you and help guide you. So I hope you have a great rest of your week, a great rest of your Wednesday. Again, this is Jim Gonzalez with EDI Support. You take care until we talk again.
Elevate your business today with EDI that cares.